it. So let's go.
A new report says Tennessee is home to the worst property tax hikes in the country by
What?
a lot. The local numbers especially can be concerning here. So our Lauren Lowry is here in studio to break down those findings and what it means for folks who own homes right now or, Lauren, are in the market to buy.
Yeah, so Lydia, the numbers we're about to show you come from the Beacon Center of Tennessee. They looked at property tax increases over the last 6 years, and they found Tennessee hikes are up by double-digit margins over the next closest state. In fact, Tennessee is the only state in the U.S. with an increase over 75%. So on the local level, the Beacon Center says numbers are staggering. Mount Juliet approved a 164% increase. Fairview, 42% increase. Nashville homeowners have watched their bills climb 60% in 5 years. If we compare that to Texas, the state is managing to grow its population faster than Tennessee and cut property taxes on average. So why is this happening? Take a look at this map here. Yeah, Beacon Center says Tennessee is missing a basic taxpayer protection, meaning there's no legislation that limits how much local governments can raise property taxes. Beacon Center says this is making residents more susceptible to volatile property tax increases. The situation specific to us, I mean, it's easy to read this map, right? We're the only one in yellow. Numbers are still going up, but not at the same pace. So according to the Beacon Center, 46 states and D.C. all have this cap on property taxes that Tennessee is lacking. A cap was proposed in the State House last year. It never made it to a vote. The report is calling on our state legislators to intervene, to just do something about this. For now, it's not clear if or when our property tax rates could start trending downward. All of us that are homeowners here, we're all hopeful. Lydia.
Well, listen, first thing that came in my mind is they said the last 5 years. So COVID happened the last 5 years. So a lot of Californians moved over to Tennessee as well. So that tax base increased that as well. But also at the same time, if there's no cap on property taxes, now that's why I'm not a homeowner at this moment, right? Not a homeowner right now. But if I do decide to be a homeowner, awesome. If not, either which way, I think it's a great thing to get property taxes decrease or eliminated. Like Florida's in implemented or trying to. I think they passed it. I don't know. Maybe it may hit for their main, the midterm elections coming up, so they may be heading there. I know taxes is a big thing, but I ain't know because I think that Tennessee has no sales tax, but I know you got to make it up. I know that doesn't mean like or state income tax. I think it's no state income tax. So they got to make up. I mean, you got to make up the revenue somewhere. But I ain't know they can just jack you up like that. Dang, you people ain't mad enough. People now these places, right? Let's see where these areas at, because I know we know Nashville, and I think Nashville is Shelby or David. I think it's Shelby County, Davidson County. You guys can correct me. But Fairview and Mount Vernon, because you got to think like the areas, the locations matter. Let's see, Mount Juliet, Tennessee County, right, which is Wilson County. Let's see. We'll say medium income, because there's a lot of times you gotta do medium income in the area. So pretty affluent, yeah. It says $7,000, $107,668,000. This figure represents the midpoint of all household incomes in the city, means half of the households earn more or half earn less. It says the per capita in Mount Juliet in 2024 was $55,222. The median family income, including all family households, is higher at $128,567,000. It says Mount Juliet median household income is significantly above the Tennessee state average of $71,997, which I figured, because they did say, and before I even clicked down, it says Wilson County, where Mount Juliet ranks as Tennessee's top 5 most affluent with the second highest medium income in the state. The county's medium income is well above the state average, reflecting a strong growth, economic growth, and high property values. Let's look at Fairview, which probably it was an Anacote. Let's see, Fairview. Because I'm pretty sure that those places they name are the most affluential areas. Medium income. I could say medium home prices, but I should definitely more. I can do that as well. But they said the medium income in that area is as in 2023, $88,333. That's the latest reporting on that. This figure is 112.47% of the U.S. median household income in 2023. Yeah, we can look at home prices in a bit. What's the last place? Nashville. I'm pretty sure Nashville is exploded. I think that's Davidson County. Nashville. Or Shelby, medium income. Yeah, Davidson County. I had it right. Yeah, Davidson. As of 2024, 80,090, according to the city's data.com analysts of 2000 to 2024 trends. This is a $8,093 higher increase, higher than the state's median income. Which has been a 10% increase from 2000, where it was only $39,232. The median family is $101,305. And then the population has about 704,965 people. All right, so we did all that. So let's look at property taxes. Nashville's property taxes, which property tax rates. Ooh, good God. $2. So the urban service, I should share my screen with y'all, but I can just read out to y'all. I think I'm doing a good job reading this. So it says, according to the Nashville's property assessor office, the rates are urban services $2, 848. I don't know. That's $2.8 per $100. So $2.81 per $100. I'm pretty sure if you add it all up, that might, depending on the size of the property, that may, I don't know how you read this, but it's going up. I mean, I was going to say these rates dropped from 2022 through 2024 of $3.25 US dollars, and I think it says to like the general service district to $2.92. So that's just the rates, right? One more thing. Fairview, Tennessee. Fairview is actually lower. It says about the effective tax rate, property tax rate is about 0.69%, which is above the Williamson County average of 0.47, but slightly below Tennessee's state average of 0.71. So to kind of break this down, if a home is worth $150,000, you're paying $86 a month, or you're paying $1,034 a month. So the higher, of course, the higher the home, right? The higher the income. I mean, the higher the your property taxes, right? So a home that's $250,000 is you're paying $144 a month, or you're paying $1,723 a year. And $1 million home, you're paying $574 a month, which is $68.90 a year. And what was the last one? The last one was Mount Juliet. Let's get that. This is some interesting facts. You know what I mean? This is some interesting stuff. Theirs is actually 0.5. So Mount Juliet has a medium effective property tax rate of 0.5 for a $300,000 home. The estimated annual tax on that is $1,513 or $126 a month. This is below, or no, this is above the Wilson County average of 0.48 of below, but and below the Tennessee average. So still not like, so reading off these numbers, I mean, saying higher, it was, now they saying higher than other states, whatnot, but it's still, I mean, those three locations still not higher than the state itself, but the state doesn't have a cap, and the local population, the local governments can pretty much just charge whatever and do whatever or whatnot. But it's never the numbers I just read out, or at least that's what I given. It's not, it still fall below of the 0.771%. So yeah, I mean, Tennessee is growing. Okay, the why, it says, why is Tennessee the only state lacking in legislative cap on local taxes? That's a good question. Maybe it's something. I mean, they did say. Let me see if I can play the last half of this video before we move on. If I get my final thoughts on this.
Property taxes on average. So why is this happening? Take a look at this map here. Yeah, Beacon Center says Tennessee is missing a basic taxpayer protection, meaning there's no legislation that limits.
And you got to protect the taxpayer. You can't be. We already getting taxed out of eyeballs. You gotta come on now, y'all.
Limits how much local governments can raise property taxes. Beacon Center says this is making residents more susceptible to volatile property tax increases. The situation specific to us. I mean, it's easy to read this map, right? We're the only one in yellow. Numbers are still going up, but not at the same pace. So according to the Beacon Center, 46 states and D.C. all have this cap on property taxes that Tennessee is lacking. A cap was proposed in the State House last year. It never made it to a vote. The report is calling on our state legislators to intervene, to just do something about this. For now, it's not clear if or when our property tax rates could start trending downward. We're, all of us that are homeowners here, we're all hopeful. Lydia.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand. I don't get it. Like, I don't know why it was shot down. Like, I guess unless you're trying to figure out where you collect on other things, or if you cap, how would you want to say budgetary shortfalls or anything like that? I haven't keenly paid much attention to Tennessee's like politics, whatnot, and the tax. I know, like I said, I think they have no state income tax, if I have that correct. But those counties or those places I name are just they are the higher end, supposedly the affluent areas, whatnot. So that doesn't speak for the rest of Tennessee. So that means there may be places that aren't paying as much, right? But so still, even if you're not paying as much, you still want to have like some kind of taxpayer, local tax, property tax, to kind of protect the taxpayer from not getting taxed out of the eyeballs and getting gouged, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Because there's some volatility, because you might have one year where you only pay $500 in property taxes, and then the very next year you're paying $1,500 in property taxes. That may be due to a new bill or a couple of new bills in the neighborhood, whatever. But you want to kind of cap that. Whatever the rate is at, that's where it's at. You know what I'm saying? Let me stay at the rate that I'm at, and if somebody come in a new rate, then you give them that new rate, and go from there. So, but I mean, the people of Tennessee, I mean, I think that's something that yeah, I mean, I think it's something to look at, because because depending on what kind of local administration you get involved, they say they want to build a new rec center or some, build some new yeah, recreation center or sports, venue or multi-million-dollar condos. Well, there you go, right there. Everybody got to move at that point. Everybody got to make decisions at that point. Now you got to make decisions of do you get spam or do you get ham, right? Then you gotta make that if you gotta start making life decisions like do I put as much gas in my car this week or do I pay a little bit? Do I put a little bit more food in my, so you might no. Now, of course, people, you get what you pay for. I mean, like like, of course, they're to me, I think they're not pissed off enough. I think because people make a lot of money, they just think, oh well, but I mean, I don't just because if I made a lot of money, I'm trying to figure out how to cut taxes. I'm not saying like not pay my taxes, but I'm trying to figure out how to alleviate and not paying as much taxes over to the state and over to the federal government as much as possible. Okay, y'all just giving money away like, oh, well, whatever. Nah, y'all not pissed off enough. That's what that is. That's what I think. Y'all not pissed enough. If y'all was pissed enough, y'all would have had something on the books. Y'all would have had some kind of law, some kind of state law that's protecting y'all from this madness, this taxation. Y'all have taxation without representation on the property taxes side. Apparently, y'all not mad enough. Y'all not pissed off enough. I'm just trying my laptop up. Hold on. Yeah. Nah, y'all not mad enough. I'm not mad enough. They're not mad enough. And it's in the affluent areas or rich part of towns, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, they're not mad enough. They're not mad enough. They're like, oh, well, I'll just make another extra, whatever. Nah. They might talk it. They might talk it, but mm-mm. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. Let's see why. Let's see. Let me ask this question. Let me see. Let's answer. It's a question to ask and say, why is Tennessee was represented? In short, before we move on, of course, Tennessee's property tax burden can seem high because of a combination of rapidly rising home values, which I alluded to, how the state taxes different property types, and local budget pressures. So number one, home values outpace other property types. No statewide caps, what they said, which is wild to me. And on assessments or rates. So even if you assess things every 4 to 6 years, whatnot, it says Tennessee has no limit on how much property values can rise during appraisals every 4 to 6 years, and no statewide cap on how much a county or city can raise its levies. The only formula break is the certified tax rate system, which sets a revenue neutral rate after appraisal. Rising rates above that requires public hearings and votes, but it's not a permanent freeze. So it's almost like if you freeze rent, it's not it's still not gonna you're not gonna eventually the inevitable is gonna happen, right? People gonna move out, people gonna, and stuff gonna cost more on the back end. Local governments can still increase rates if they want. And then number 3, it says local budget pressures. Residential versus business tax treatment, perception versus actual rates. And it says bottom line, it says Tennessee's property rates aren't inherently high statewide, but in a fast growing areas where rising home values, the combination of 25% residential assessment ratio, no value caps, no local budget, and local budgets needs can make them feel steep. Homeowners in these areas often see their bills rise more than slower growing or rural counties. Whew, y'all might need to move. Get up out of there. You need to move. You need to move, man. You need to move. Because listen, let me read number 2. Number 2 says it best. It says rising rates above that requires public hearings and votes, but it's not a permanent freeze. So it's not even, so even if you go through a public hearings and votes or whatever and all that, it's a temporary, it's temporary, and government still can say, you know what? Let us get that extra $2,000. Okay. We need an extra $2,000 per all the citizens in such a county. That's insane. Dang, man. It's like the mob over there, man. Sheesh. Whew. That means you only got, they say if you buy a home, you only probably got maybe like a good 4 to 6 years of feeling really good, feel really, really good about your purchase. And on the 7th year, you like, you're pissed. You're like, oh my God, baby, we need to move. We need to sell the home. All right. But yeah, I hope they at least get some value caps and where the government can't, just increase rates when they want. I mean, you can assess things every 4 to 6 years, whatnot, and kind of see where you at, because things do change. Things do change in that amount of time. So that's my thoughts on it. Moving on to the last story tonight. ICE says 1,200. They made 1,200